Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. What a week it's been, eh? Just when you think things are getting back to normal, an almighty war is unleashed in Europe. Tonight, I'll be asking the very important question. Is Bad Mad Vlad an actual psychopath? What makes him tick? Is he a murderous, power-hungry lunatic armed to the teeth? I'll be joined by a psychiatrist to unpick that one. And it goes without saying, there will be a lot of worry out there as the situation unfolds. But is it time for us to start accepting Ukrainian refugees? I'm asking you at home that very question. Get into my inbox, gbviews at gbnews.uk. I'll be keeping across the latest with my wonderful panel and guests, as well as the fighting, unfortunately, continues to escalate. Also, ahead, from fighting talk on a global scale to a bit of tension on home soil. Find out what happened when I got into the boxing ring. That's right, you can see it right there. It does also explain my split lip, doesn't it? There we go. British boxer Jordan Reynolds joins me for this week's challenge, Christys. Yes, it was rather embarrassing, wasn't it? But there we go. And you won't want to miss Patrick's hat-trick as well. We have some heated debates here at GB News. But check this one on Ukrainian television. Look at that. It's all kicked off. It's kicked off outside the TV studio as well, to be fair. All of that to come and much, much more. But first, it's time for your latest headlines with the wonderful Olivia Guthrie.
Thank you, Patrick. Here are the latest headlines from the GB News. The Prime Minister has told NATO that a catastrophe is engulfing Ukraine, warning that President Putin's ambitions might not stop there. It follows claims by Russia's defence ministry that it's captured a strategic airfield outside Kiev, cutting the capital off from the west. There are also reports of artillery rounds heard in the capital and loud blasts in the eastern city of Kharkiv. Britain's Defence Intelligence Chief says Russian forces are advancing on two fronts towards the capital. Putin is calling on Ukrainian servicemen to take power into their own hands and overthrow their government.
I once again appeal to the military personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine. Do not allow neo-Nazis and Ukrainian radical nationalists to use your children, wives and elders as human shields. Take power into your own hands. It will be easier for us to reach agreement.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's defence ministry claims that 2,800 Russian soldiers have died during the conflict so far. In a show of unity, President Vladimir Zelensky released footage of himself and other officials in the district of Lipki in Kiev, stressing they'll defend the capital.
Good evening to everyone. The leader of the faction is here. The head of the presidential office is here. Prime Minister Schmeigel is here. Podolyak is here. The president is here. We are all here. Our soldiers are here. The citizens are here. And we are here. We defend our independence. That's how it will go. Glory to our defenders, both male and female. Glory to Ukraine.
Slava našim.
Well, Ukraine's youngest ever member of parliament, Sviatoslav Jurash, is in Kiev. He says they need help.
We are facing heavy fights everywhere. Very hard to discern information coming forward with what is true, what is not. But the battles in Kiev continue. Again, shells behind me falling. And again, this is modern Europe. This is the biggest war in Europe since the Second World War. And the world needs to wake up and support us in this fight in every way it can. Because if it is allowed here, destruction of the single biggest European state, this will spread.
Well, here, BP's under pressure from the government to cut its ties with Russian oil giant Rosneft. Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng told company bosses he has serious concerns over BP's 20% stake in the company. TV, online and DAB+ radio, this is GB News. Now it's back to Patrick.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us on this fine evening for another dose of Friday Night Feast with me, Patrick Christys. And joining us this evening on the panel is TV personality Nadia Essex and crazy ginger cabbie Aaron Cornell. Yes, that's right. How are you both? Aaron, so are you?
Yeah, good? I'm very good. Yep. Thanks.
You drive yourself in here this week, then, in your cab or not?
I did. I didn't trust you not to get me an Uber down here, so I had to drive my own taxi. But yeah, it was good.
And Nadia, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Well, look, everywhere you turn, you can't miss the fact that Bad Mad Vlad is yet again at it, isn't he? The Russian president hasn't held back since he decided to send in troops to invade Ukraine. The casualties keep rising, and the awful pictures and stories from those desperately trying to escape have been dominating our television screens. One thing is certain, though. You're going to be bombarded with lies, propaganda and fake news from Camp Kremlin until this whole thing draws to a close, if indeed it ever does. But any decent human being can see that the reasons behind the war are completely unjustified and wrong. The complete disregard for human life has got me wondering if the Russian president is actually a fully fledged psychopath who happens to be running one of the most powerful nations in the world. A bit later on, I'm going to be putting that important question to psychologist Dr. Arthur Cassidy to psychoanalyse this psycho. But first, I'm going to go to my panel. Aaron, I'll start with you. How do you feel about Vlad?
I think that he's gone age is catching up with him a little bit, and I think that he's just gone on excuse the pun, on a bit of a warpath, and I think that nothing's really going to get in his way, and it is scary times, and I think that people in this country especially should take it seriously and realise that this is a massive threat.
Are you scared? Are you genuinely scared?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep a level head because there's actually nothing I can do about it. I'm scared and I see the pictures and I'm sad and I've cried and it's really heartbreaking, but I can't control it, and that makes me even more scared.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the one thing that does make me feel a little bit better is that I live in London and I'm close to the Queen. And so if they're going to nuke anywhere in England, it's probably not going to be where the Queen is. So I'm just trying to justify, rationalise me being safe in any way possible, because literally the button could be pressed and tomorrow we're all wiped out.
Do you think he's got it in him? Do you think he might actually be a psychopath, this guy?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, people...
Hopefully we don't have a red dot emerge on your forehead anytime soon now, but yeah.
But this is the thing. I just think people have spoke over the years about how nuts he is. He's like a Hitler 2.0 and whatnot, and because we're all so invested in ourselves, it's like you think, oh, it's not going to happen. So people are more interested in TikTok, Instagram, or whatever. Yeah. And then now this has actually happened. It's like, oh God, it's a real thing. Putin is literally Hitler 2.0.
What do you make of that then? I mean, obviously these comparisons have been drawn. Some people say, that's not quite the case, of course, but some people say, well, there are certain similarities, and hopefully when we do go to our psychoanalyst, we'll be answering that very question. But, I mean, do you think he really has got it in him to press that nuclear button? Well,
unfortunately, yes, and I think his age is the reason why, because he's not left with the aftermath. He presses the button, we go into World War, he's, old and decrepit and potentially losing his marbles anyway. Yeah. I also think he's a bit of a wannabe social media fame whore. Wow. And,
I wonder if Vladimir Putin's ever been called that before.
Well, probably.
It's the first time for everything, isn't there?
Well, I think so. I mean, I feel like, he's just a typical kind of wannabe, it's all bravado and it's all for, attention. He's like a little boy that just strives for attention and I mean, he's getting it.
He is getting it a lot. Now, the question of refugees. Ladies and gentlemen at home, this is one thing that I want to ask you, GBViews at gbnews.uk, because there is going to be a humanitarian crisis here. You could argue that there already is one, actually. People are fleeing left, right and centre from Ukraine. Who can blame them? A lot of them, of course, as well, are actually staying to fight. But there are a lot of people trying to get to safety. And there are going to be question marks now, aren't there, about where they all go. Aaron, I'll throw it over to you. Would you be quite inclined to I suppose, throw the doors open, as it were, to Ukrainian refugees?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as long as it doesn't get too out of hand. But then where does it stop? Where do you say, no, enough's enough? But then when you see the videos of grown men crying and kissing their kids goodbye and on the trains and whatever, it's just like, you can't even, especially people in this country, we're in a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot comprehend what they're going through. So when people, I don't know, what they did in the past, will share a flag, I'm with Ukraine and or whatever, you think, all right, this is now real. Do you know, this could potentially go into a world war, and we're in a very sort of, I don't know, we're in our own bubble.
We are. I'm going to go to the inbox in a second, gbviews at gbnews.uk, so do let us know what you think about this ongoing situation, whether or not you think Britain should do more, maybe, or should start offering it up, essentially, to allow loads and loads and loads of Ukrainian refugees into this country. Nadia, I just want to ask you a quick question, though, because a lot of people in my inbox have been saying, look, maybe if we hadn't already accepted so many people who we don't always know who they are and where they've come from, we might have more room now for Ukrainian people. How do you feel about that?
more room. We've got plenty of room.
Okay, go on.
We've got a whole island.
Yeah.
How have we not got room? Of course we've got room. I think that's, I don't know, that logic is just unhumanitarian. There's plenty of room. You know, do we have the resources? That's questionable, but of course we do. If, you know, I remember when it was like, I think it was the beginning of COVID and 250,000 people volunteered to help take people for tests and stuff.
Yeah.
People want to help. We're here. The people on the ground really do want to open up their homes and their lives to help these people. So, yeah, we've got the room. We can help.
OK, well, that's your view. Right, we are going to go now to Arthur Cassidy. Dr. Arthur Cassidy, I've just demoted him there. 7 years, medical school or whatever it is, and I've just ruined it completely for him. Psychologist Dr. Arthur Cassidy. Yes, let's psychoanalyse this psycho, Dr. Arthur. Is Vladimir Putin an actual psychopath?
Well, I have observed Putin for very many years, and we can see from a close scientific analysis of his personality traits that he does exhibit quite a number of psychopathic traits. There's a pathology of evil that seems to run through most of his identification. So we take, for example, what we call the dark triad, and these are traits that President Putin seems to exhibit over in many, many years, even at an international level. We see narcissism, we see what we call dark narcissism, where there's an exceeding focus on self-importance and control. We also see in many of his speeches, even with his own cabinet, we see a very strong controlling factor here, an obsession with his own ego identity, as we call it. And so we have Machiavellianism creeping in here into everything he says and does, through all his narrative, Patrick. We see in all his political ideology, we see a strong form of control of Machiavellianism. So three core traits. The psychopathology one is the worst.
Now, there's been a mixed response to some people saying that Vladimir Putin is drawing similarities between him and Hitler. And indeed, there's one on the front page of one of our national newspapers this morning. Are there any similarities?
Well, there are, but there are also many differences. Every unique human being is very, very different. But there are commonalities. There is a control, there is the self-ego, and he's the high-octane ego defense that he has. But there's a form of emotional dysregulation that both he and Hitler also exhibited. So this is where emotions do not follow rationality. Emotions become dysregulated, they become highly impulsive, and therefore people like Hitler and people like President Putin tend to ignore all forms of logic and rational, especially moral reasoning.
I think he enjoys taking lives, because look at the way that he's trying to dispose of certain people in this country. Indeed, he did. Alexander Litvinenko, polonium in the tea. Then you've got the Skripals as well with Novichok. He's also done it, frankly, probably all around the world. And then you see what the Russian military is doing at the moment. They are shelling areas that are inhabited basically just by civilians. Do you think he actually enjoys killing people?
I think there is an underlying what we call pathology here, that there is enjoyment because they get high psychological payoffs from the more deaths, the more blood, the more murder, where they demoralize people. So there is this binary thing, it's all or nothing. And so in his personality, we see a control freak here as someone totally devoid of his own ego and his own attention to reality. So the more deaths they get, very much like the pathology behind trolls, Patrick, where the more people we injure, the more people we demean, because they lack remorse. Psychopathy in his mindset is about the lack of remorse. There's no empathy whatsoever with the Ukrainian people. And remember, we've got to remember, Patrick, these Ukrainian people are human. They are entitled to democracy. They're entitled to be who they want to be. They're entitled to dignity and to self-respect and to self-determinism. But this particular president is one who lacks that empathy. This is why gaining more power, gaining more control. And we must remember, by the way, that he is persistently driven by these power motives, which come from an underlying Marxist-Leninist background in his youth. And remember, he had quite a difficult upbringing. I remember also doing a radio program sometime the time of the meeting with the Russian-German, done in the Russian-German conference that we had in Serbia. And I remember at that time, there was a control factor. There was political contempt, and it's political contempt that's driving his underlying evil and evil desires.
OK, all right. Look, a lot of people in my inbox now, GBviews at gbnews.uk, keep those coming in. We will go through to those throughout the show, are saying someone with his psychology cannot stop. The only way to stop him is to take him out. Is that true?
Yes, there would be the underlying reasoning that this man is dangerous. He doesn't live in the contemporary world of political ideology. The Russian people are entitled. There's a brain drain. We know there's a brain drain. Young Russian people, so highly intelligent, contributing to international economies and world affairs. And these people are entitled. There is entitlement here. They are entitled to be who they want to be. But we cannot have a president lurking in the background who's trying to retard their high level of intelligence, scientific progress, and education systems. This is a president who's well out of touch with today's world. And there's no place in our contemporary political society for psychopathy.
No. And I think one of the things that's interesting as well is, for me, is actually a bit of this led by fear. Has he got fear? He's got fear of NATO on his borders. He's got fear of getting old and maybe not achieving everything that he wanted to. He's got the fear that any rampant dictator must have, which is that the day he steps down, his successor could well lock him up and accuse him of absolutely anything. Is he actually led a bit by fear, or is he just completely devoid of that emotion whatsoever?
Actually, you are quite right. He is actually obsessed with fear. He fears who will take over from Putin. And he doesn't trust. I see from an analysis of all of his work, he doesn't trust any of the potential forthcoming presidents. He is who he is, and it's mine. Whatever is mine is mine. He is a political predator. What is mine is mine, and what yours is also mine. So there is this underlying lack of trust, and there's a fear that whoever will take over the current, what would have been the Soviet Union at one time, that we're having a forward-looking, optimistic president who's diplomatic and will work for the people and give them the life that they're entitled to. There is an underlying fear behind that.
If he gets Ukraine, and he does roll the tanks in properly, and as indeed he has, really, and he actually wins, and the West does nothing, apart from maybe impose some financial sanctions, does he carry on?
I think he will, because he seems to devoid of any reasoning about economic sanctions. He knows they're there. Remember, he's got a PhD in economics, and he's a very, very clever, highly intelligent guy. But this is not what drives him. Power and militaristic power and political ideology and opportunism is about getting what he wants. So he is very much what we call a political predator. Predators will get whatever they want and will take out of the way anything that blocks their aims and goals and targets. So I believe that he will actually keep persisting in this very warped form of identity that he has.
There we go. Thank you very much for your time. Psychologist Dr. Arthur Cassidy. I was really, really keen to try to psychoanalyse Vladimir Putin, because I want to really understand this guy, if indeed it's possible. And you know what? It looks like what most of us are thinking is actually true. I think he probably is a dangerous psychopath, devoid of a lot of emotion, but ultimately at its core, he's a very, very scared man. And yes, anyway, well, look, obviously I'll be coming back very shortly anyway with my panel. Obviously, I want to get your thoughts as well. Is it time that the UK starts thinking about accepting Ukrainian refugees? GBviews at gbnews.uk is that email. You can tweet us as well at GBnews. But OK, there's plenty more still to come, including my big moment in the boxing ring. Here we go. Look at me. I mean, I think we know which way that fight went, don't we? But yeah, stay tuned to find out. It does also explain my rather ugly split lip. I'll be doing that for Challenge Christys. How do you think I get on? Plus, after the break, we'll be debating whether going to university is actually a waste of time and money. Here's what one of you told me earlier.
Is university worth it?
No.
Why not?
Go out there, get more decisions, more opportunities and all that stuff.
It's not value for money, but it could be if the government made more of an effort.
Yeah, I think it is. Why? I don't think it's the tuition. I think it's just the experience around the communities and like the activities that you can do.
Just theoretical. A lot of I guess a lot of theoretical stuff you can't really put to practice anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of it's outdated.
Seems like we're not even students. We're like customers of education.
Absolutely. I went to university and it stood me in good stead all my career.
Free though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was indeed. Yes.
Do you think it's right that now if you don't pass maths and English GCSE, you don't get a student loan?
Well, why would you go to university if you can't pass maths or English?
I think English and maths are pretty standard, so I kind of agree with that.
I think you should still be able to study maybe less math-focused fields.
I can see why you need those qualifications for certain courses, but I don't see why that would discount you from being able to get a grant for university. It doesn't seem fair to me.
Yes, well, I can't wait. We're going to have a big debate on this very issue. What do you think as well? GBViews at gbnews.uk. I will see you in 2.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before. It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I tell you what, if you could see what goes on behind the scenes here in the advert breaks, you'd want to be involved, I suppose. Welcome back to Friday Night Feast. And here we go. We're going to be doing a big debate on this university issue. Obviously, we saw the story this week. It's one of the biggest stories of the week, actually, which is if you don't pass your GCSEs, Maths and English, you won't be given a student loan. You can still go to uni, but you'll have to pay for it yourself. And so I'm just going to bring in for a brief response now, Nadia. I mean, how was your university experience?
I didn't go.
No?
I think university is good if you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something that requires lots of training. But, you know, a lot of my friends went for like sociology and like, I think there was like David Beckham studies. You know, there's just no point. Get out there, get working.
Yeah.
Get life experience.
Oh, one of the ones that's always wheeled out is brewing and distilling at Bath Spa University. But I actually am very grateful for that, to be perfectly honest with you, I think. You know, without brewing and distilling, I'd be knackered. But anyway, I'm just going to bring you in quickly. Did you go to uni?
Absolutely not.
No? Only do you feel worse off for it?
No, I think I've done all right out of it. I mean, I'm not in like loads of student debt like a lot of people that I know, so happy days.
Happy days indeed. Right, OK. Well, the reason I'm asking this, obviously, is because this week the government did announce plans to reject those student loan applications for those who lack English and Maths at GCSEs, or even if they have 2 A-levels at grade E. So there we go. And it's an expensive game, isn't it? Excuse me, expensive game these days, isn't it? So, is going to university even actually worth it? It's time to debate this issue now. And I am joined by a famous face in the shape of Charlie Mullins, there we are, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, and of course Nicholas Hillman as well, Director of Higher Education Policy Institute. We're going to go hammer and tongs on this, I think, chaps. Thank you very much, both of you. Charlie, I'll start to you. You've done all right for yourself. You didn't go to uni, did you?
That's right. I mean, I think anything that the government does to stop so many students going to university for 3 years and then coming out and not being able to get a job, it's got to be a good thing. As that lady said, you know, certain things, doctors, lawyers, certain other professions, of course. But media, music, arts. How necessary is that? And at the end of the day, it's the taxpayers that's paying for all this. So anything that government do to prevent people going to university, unnecessary. And then maybe they should work on, getting them jobs and where there is vacancies. And, it's not difficult. They can start with the skills.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that because I'm very big on apprenticeships. But Nicholas, I just want to bring you in now. Nicholas Hillman, Director of Higher Education Policy Institute. Some people think university is just an expensive con.
Well, they do, and it doesn't work out for everybody, but it does work out for most people who go. And let me give you an example of one profession that used not to recruit graduates, but which now does. Nursing. You didn't used to need a degree to be a nurse, but all the evidence from all over the world is that hospitals that have nurses with degrees are safer places for patients than hospitals without. So I think it's a good thing that nurses are now graduates, that teachers are now graduates. They didn't used to be graduates either. And I think our society is better for it.
Charlie, you alluded to something earlier on there, mate, about practical skills. Now, I think a lot of people are stigmatised for not going to university. There's an implication there, potentially, that they must be a bit thick, and that's just not true, is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's an old-fashioned way of looking at it, but, things have moved on so advanced now, and we go back to what we said, that we don't need 50% of people that's going to universities, maybe cut it down to 20 or 10%, just the real professional people that are needed, let the other people go into a trade or a job where they're earning while they're learning, and fill the gaps that are actually vacant out there, rather than, going to a university and then coming out and, not getting the job that they sort of studied for. I mean, It's about time the government's woke up, and I think this is perhaps the best step we've done in many years to stop it.
No, exactly. I mean, when you look around, like we've all said, there are some jobs you absolutely need a degree for. There are some incredibly high-skilled things. But that's part of the misconception, in my opinion, because when I look at, for example, plumbing, that's a highly skilled job. If my plumbing goes wrong, I need to call a plumber. He's by definition, or she's by definition, more intelligent in that regard than I am. And Nicholas, does the problem start with schools? They've got targets to hit, haven't they? They've got these aspirational university targets, and if that school starts encouraging people to go and get more practical trades instead of a meaningless degree in David Beckham studies, then they look like a worse school.
No, I don't. I don't think schools are to blame for this. I mean, first of all, I think it's a good thing, not a problem, that more people are wanting to go to university. And secondly, it starts with families. So 97% of mothers say they want their kids to go to university. Now, they won't all go, and they shouldn't all go, but aspiration levels within UK families are very, very high. And so it starts with families, not with schools.
OK, that's interesting. Charlie, can I ask, was university ever an option for you, or did you just not think about it? And why not, if you didn't?
Myself?
Yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, it's an unfair system anyhow. More people that have come from money or privileged life, a better chance of getting to university. So it's an unfair system, and all they're necessarily doing is running up a debt at the taxpayer's expense. And, some of the people that from a poorer background are just not given that opportunity. So if we want to all sort of start mixing together and start sort of saying things are more equal, then it's one of the best things that have happened that, stopped so many people going to university. We only need a certain amount. Let's not kid anyone. Universities just want to put bums on seats. It's a business to them, and that's all they want to do. They're not bothered that they've got a 40-year debt and they're never going to pay it back. It's a taxpayer like myself and many other people that has to pay for people on a waste of time course. They don't get a job after it, and we're the ones that are paying for it. So it's a no-brainer.
Nicholas, isn't there a lot of truth in that? Because let's be honest, this country now is facing down the barrel of potentially being a bit skint. And so are we. Everything's going up. The cost of living's going up. Putin might turn the taps off at some point. And actually, the government's had a look around and gone, well, how can we save a bit of money? Well, I'll tell you what. Here was a way that we were absolutely hemorrhaging it for a very long time. People who failed maths and English GCSE or got E's at A-level being given student loans that they're never going to pay back, but the taxpayer will. And that had to stop, didn't it?
Well, most people who go to university do well out of it and don't regret it. And most employers pay graduates more than non-graduates. So there's something valuable going on there. But look, what the government has proposed this week is not particularly unreasonable. I think it's valid to say that if people are going to study at a higher level, which is what university is, then they need to have a minimal level of academic qualifications beforehand. No one knows quite how many people will be affected by this policy. It will be a few thousand people each year, but it's not it's not a catastrophically bad policy. I wouldn't do it myself, but it's pretty much at the margins, to be honest.
Okay. Charlie, over to you now, really, for one of the final words here. Do you actually bother when you're checking a CV for one of your plumbers, whether or not they've gone to university? Do you even look at that?
Yeah, well, look, to be honest, when we was taking people on, if you haven't got a university degree and you've been in the workplace, you've got a better chance of certainly getting a job with us than if you've just been studying for 3 years and got no experience in the workplace. So, I have to be honest, on certain companies, I don't think it's an advantage at all. And especially when they're applying for a job that is non-related to the course that they've done. So, and again, I heard this chap saying about, the figures say that most of the students do well out of it and they earn more money. That's nonsense. I mean, you can make the figures say what you want, but at the end of the day, you show me many people that are earning more money than some tradesmen now in London. None of these bank managers and accountants and professional people, they're on a lower wage. So I think it needs to be put in perspective. And the demand out there now is for skilled workers, and the jobs are out there, and that's where the money is these days. So I think we're misleading sort of students, believing that they're going to do great out of it because they've studied a waste of time course for 3 years. Some of them will, but not all of them.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. Nicholas, final word to you, my good man. Nicholas Hillman here now. Unis are just going to fill this gap with foreign students, aren't they?
Well, they do like educating people from other countries, and it's fantastic they want to come and study in the UK. But look, I would say horses for courses. University's not right for everybody, but it is right for a lot of people. Charlie's built up a fabulous company recruiting non-graduates, but lots of companies do need graduates. So, horses for courses. Let young people decide what's best for them.
Good stuff, both of you. Very, very grateful for making both of your debuts on Friday Night Feast. Hopefully it won't be the last time we talk to both of you. Charlie Mullins there, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, and Nicholas Hillman, Director of Higher Education Policy Institute. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what did you make of that? You can get in touch. Did you go to university? Did you think it was a waste of time and money? Are you saddled with student debt? Did you not go and you've done all right for yourself, like both of my esteemed panellists here this evening? Now, after the break, it's the latest instalment of Challenge Christys. It explains my horrific split lip. But before that, here's a question relating to what I've been up to. So, English boxer Robin Deakin fought 55 professional fights between 2006 and 2017. But how many did he win? Was it 2, 3 or 4? I'll give you the answer when I come back very shortly. Stay tuned.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before. It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Yes, welcome back to Friday Night Feast, everybody. Now, before the break, I asked you how many times English boxer Robin Deakin won during a 55-fight professional career. So the options were 2, 3 and 4. And would you believe the answer is 2? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He won just 2 fights. So to be fair, it's 2 more than me. So you've got to take your hat off to the lad, haven't you? Robin Deakin lost 53 of his 55 fights. He was branded Britain's worst boxer, which I think is unfair, because anyone who gets into a boxing ring is obviously, well, they're much harder than I am, let's be honest, and probably most of you as well. So, and that leads me nicely, anyway, on to this. Yes, it's my favourite time of the week. It's Challenge Christys, when I get sent to do something that you guys at home just think is totally beyond me, and I prove once and for all, unequivocally, that I can do it, but I can also do it better. That's right. It's my way of showing just how great I really am. So, like I've said already, if you're a firefighter and you don't think I could do your job, invite me to your station and I'll prove I can do it better. Or maybe you're a trapeze artist. Get in touch, invite me along, I'll show you how it's done. You can send your ideas to patrick@gbnews.uk. I can't wait to see what you want me to do, but for now, I was sent a challenge earlier this week, of course, and it was by a guy called Nick Smith. So if you're watching, Nick, thank you very much, in a way. Anyway, here's what I got up to earlier this week. Check this out. Hello everyone, this is Challenge Christys. It's the part of the show where you, the viewer, you, the listener, basically set me a challenge, something you think I can't do, something you think I'd find impossible. And you know what? I'll do it better than you ever expected. I've just seen a sign up there and I've got a bit of an idea now. Go on then. Right, well, this could only end well. I'm feeling pretty confident, you know. How hard can it be, do you think, boxing? I mean, it's not going to be anyone good, is it? Look around, you know. It's not going to be anyone great. You don't see Anthony Joshua around here, do you?
My name's Jordan Reynolds. I'm a former Olympic Team GB member with a record of 112 fights, 98 wins, now professional under MTK Global with 3 fights, 3 wins. I heard Patrick Christys up on my manor, so I'm out here looking for him because I want to do him.
Patrick Killer Christys, they call me. I think I've got this. He's going to sleep.
We're jumping now, mate, a bit of shadow boxing. Did you say you boxed before?
Yeah, loads of times, mate.
On that jab, on that jab. Get your man's up. Thought you said you boxed before.
I have boxed before. I've just got a very unique style, OK? It works, you'll find out.
Use your jab. Keep the man's up. Come on, turn into it, come on. Hands up, hands up. Come on, use the jab, mate. Turn from the waist, turn from the waist.
Look, I know what I'm doing. All right, I know what I'm doing.
Hands up, hands up.
Look, I'm getting a bit sicky, right? I'm very good at it.
Come on.
It's normally outside of Weatherspoons.
Jab. 1, 2. Come on now, mate, that's a pansy.
What?
Jab. 1, 2. Hit the pad. 1, 2.
You moved it.
Come on, man.
What? That sounded
Soft.
great.
Soft.
Mate, I
It might sound great, mate. Don't feel like nothing. I could do better than I got 1 hand. Let's go. Hands up, come on. Move your head. 4.
Oh, it's like Muhammad Ali in his prime.
beat me, mate, you're gonna need hand-eye coordination.
Got
see what you got.
Got loads of it, mate.
All the way down, all the way down. Oh. Working, come on.
205.
Come on.
206.
No, that's 6.
200.
That's 7.
Not if you start at 200.
On your shoulder. Down here, mate, all right? Let's go.
On it.
Yeah, easy,
Mate, not a
easy
problem,
done.
mate.
Come on.
Not a problem. Who's this guy in gears? Honestly.
Come on, mate.
Rocky never did this. All right, that's enough training. I think I'm ready for you now.
Yeah, do you reckon so?
I reckon so, yeah. Right, OK, the first one to get knocked down loses. All right?
About 2 knockdowns.
What, for you mean?
Head guard or no head guard?
Head guards are for wussies, mate.
We'll see. Wake up.
Wake up, Patrick, mate. Wake up, Christy.
All right, well, there we go. Now, what do you make of that, everybody? It does explain this split lip, this rather unsightly split lip. But hey, I'm pleased to say Jordan Reynolds joins me in the studio right now. There he is. What a legend. What a good sport as well. I'll tell you what, if the boxing falls through, you could be an actor. I'm telling you that much.
Don't know about that.
Do I have a future in boxing?
I mean, you toughen you up a bit, but yeah, we'll get there, mate. We'll get there.
Well, look, I wanted to bring you in, and you wanted to come in as well, because I think, really, we like to do things a bit differently here on Friday Night Feast, and you are actually an inspiration, right, to a lot of people, and we like to get out and about in various areas, Luton being one of them. I just wanted people to hear your story, really, your start in life, and then where you are now, you know?
Yeah, no, sweet. Listen, I'm a normal kid from the estate. No matter if I'm a multi-millionaire or, you know, done it, you know, unbelievable stuff in the boxing industry, I've always been a normal lad, do you know what I mean? I never forget my roots. But I think coming from Luton is a hard upbringing. It's country estate life, do you know what I mean? It gets you ready for the real world, if I'm honest. Like, rough and tough, but it set me up. But I never had it easy growing up. And I just want to, like, try and get the story out there to show that, because it is possible where you come from. It is possible to make it. But no, I never had it easy growing up, you know, mate. You know, come from an old school family, five brothers, you know, my dad and his 4 brothers, all done long sentence time, all prison time, but they always instilled the old school way. You never grass, you know, if someone hits you, hit them back. And it's as simple as that, do you know what I mean?
Felt that.
Yeah. But then I obviously come from my mum's side, it's a very loving family, do you know what I mean? My mum's very loving, and she's like, I love my mum, do you know what I mean? Like, I am a bit of a mummy's boy, do you know what I mean? My mum's first, do you know what I mean? If I'm honest, do you know what I mean? Even though it looks a bit soft, I am a softie, do you know what I mean? I am a little bit of a softie.
It didn't come across like that to me, I've got to be honest with you, but yeah.
But yeah, listen, I never had it easy in my life, you know. I've always setback after setback from life to my career in general. Even from, like, my dad. I lost my dad a long time ago from like alcohol and drug substance, as in, like, I lost touch with him, and the drink and the drugs, it changed him in ways, do you know what I mean? And I saw a hell of a lot of things back at home that I shouldn't have seen, you know. We ended up losing the house. Me and the mum ended up in refuges. I had to become the man of the house early, at the age of 12, 13, go to Tesco's, go into the back of Tesco's, getting the food. We'll go out in 3 or 4 days, supply that for my mum, do you know what I mean, so we could eat, and then from that, you know, my mum would give me £2 for dinner money, all right? And I'm like, that's not enough, do you know what I mean? But I didn't have the heart, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, so that £2, I'll go to Farm Foods, buy the sweets, and then sell them off doing school, mate. And I was making about 10 or 15 quid. I thought it was the boy. So I always had that hustle in me early, do you know what I mean? But, you know, I love my dad dearly, do you know what I mean? And recently, you know, he rang me up a few months ago, and he said, like, it's the first time he's ever admitted he had a problem, you know.
Really?
Yeah, like...
What, just a few months ago?
Yeah, a few months ago, man, and you know, like, because, like, I always... Mate, it's been a mad story, honestly, like, I can't even explain all, like, but my dad is in a real good place now, do you know what I mean? So is my mum, like, mum's come a long way, like, everything's affected us all, you know, mentally, you know, a lot of trauma.
But you must have had, growing up, because that's your story, but that story as well, there must have been quite a few other similar ones on the estate.
Yeah, 100%.
And a lot of people go the other way. right? You know, prison time, or you go, you know, drug dealing or whatever, right? You didn't. Why not?
It was because I moved out at the age of 16. I started boxing at early 16. I went to go box to West Ham, and I thought, right, some family saw me struggling, suffering, looking a bit bummy, if I'm honest, and they gave me an opportunity to come live here. So I just took it. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to do it. And the time I was being out there, I started realising I saw like big houses and things like that. I thought, wow, there's more to life than the estate I can actually do. Which is nothing wrong with being a council estate. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I love my people. Do you know what I mean? But there is more. You can, and it just gave me this. I was like, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? And I want to like put my family, my mum, my dad, and the family in a better circumstances and change my family generation. So while I was there, mate, I was missing so many, you know, stuff the lads were up to. And after, like, for example, like 6 months being there, my mate rang me and said, "I'll come back. You know, it'd be good to see everyone." And I was missing home. Of course. So I thought the only thing that was putting me off is like I had work in the morning and I had boxing. I didn't want to be tired because I was working nights. So I ended up ringing him and said, "Oh, nah, I don't want to. You know, I'm going to miss it." Do you know what I mean? I get a phone call 4 or 5 hours in the morning. My next door neighbour, you know, one of my best mates, he gets shot in the back. So I'm like, "Cool, mate." Do you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? That could have been me.
Could have been there, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's like over again. And even like I went back a few months later with my sister to get a tattoo priced up at the back of town. I walked into a couple of lads, you know, so I had my gym bag. I'm a young kid. These older lads. And he tried to give it to me a bit. So I hit the fella. I was with my sister, protected my sister. And then I went to go for the other fella, and he just pulled out a knife. And then he was chasing me around the back of town. And it's just things like that went over and over again where I thought I'm on the right track.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I've always just managed to scrape through little things and just get by and get there, if I'm honest.
And just lastly, because I mean, look, man, I could talk to you all day.
Yeah,
we're gonna end up doing more in the future, definitely, because it's been great to have you on the show. But just lastly, it's just a message now to people on your estate growing up, or similar estates like it, maybe similar situations. A message to them now, if they're watching this or if they see a clip of this online, about what they can do with their lives if they work hard.
I would always just say, if you have a dream, have a vision, just go for it. You know, you have to be the most talented, just stick at it. Stick at it, you know, you're going to have so much adversity, setbacks. You know, I'm not the most talented, I'll just stick at it and I'll get there. So just go for it, man, and just choose the lonely route. You know, don't follow everyone else and just be you. Don't be afraid to be different, do you know what I mean? So don't keep following the trends, just be yourself and look at it and do it for your family. Do you know what I mean? Like, get out of the system because, listen, lads who, you know, from different areas, they want to try going to that council estate life. It's not what it's about, mate.
Well, I think you're an absolute legend, and thank you very much for your time, for being such a good sport, and good luck to you as well. And obviously, as you noticed, he had a bit of a cast, and it's come off now, but fingers crossed, a few months and you might be back in the ring.
Yeah, no, another setback. Yeah, we'll be back.
Good lad, good lad. Look, thank you so much, mate. Great to have you on the show. So, obviously, you've seen me show my ability in the ring, and last week I mastered wild water swimming in the Thames estuary. But what do you want me to do for next week's challenge, Christys? Thanks again to Nick Smith, who nominated me for that one. I'll be honest, I can't be bothered doing the work myself, so you need to get in touch and arrange it for me. This is what I call Patrick's promise. I'll turn up for an hour, show that I can do it better than you, sign a few autographs and leave. You know how it is. Hopefully the Paps don't follow me there, though. So go on, what are you thinking? Patrick@gbnews.uk. And who knows, you might just be lucky enough to meet me. I know, who'd have thought, eh? Time now for Patrick's Hat-Trick. Anyway, look, we all dream of scoring a goal for our own country, don't we? It is the dream. But this poor woman managed to score 3 goals into the wrong net. Check this out. In the studio now, Aaron, Nadia. Are you any good at football?
I play a bit, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, play a
you ever
bit.
scored an own goal?
A couple, yeah, and it's the worst feeling in the world.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I've never scored 3.
No, not for your country either.
No, definitely not. But to be fair to her, she'll probably get a statue built after her because everyone feels sorry for her and whatnot. Give her equal money and whatnot.
Remember that time at the, it must have been the Euros, where there was that young German girl who was crying in the stands and people started to GoFundMe, and you think, hang on a minute, there's lads like the lad I've just had there in the studio. No one set up a GoFundMe for him, did they? But, Nadia, have you been much of a sportswoman?
No.
No? Doesn't bother you?
Not really, but I feel her pain. You can see in her soul that she'll never, ever forget this day.
No.
And, you know, all you can do, this is rock bottom. She just got to pick herself up, get back out there and hopefully score the other end.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Someone needs to get, like, a big arrow and point it down this way. But anyway, we've had a few... It's the second instalment now of Patrick's Hat-Trick. Actually, it was pretty apt calling it Patrick's Hat-Trick, given what that poor woman got up to there. But we have a few heated debates on this channel, don't we? We had one at the start of the show about universities. But how about this, which took place on Ukrainian television during an interview about Russia?
Перестань! Да вы что, с ума? Вы что делаете? Юра,
Right. Nadia, you've had a few heated TV debates, have you?
Yeah, I mean, not like that, thank goodness.
No.
But, I mean, the night is young. So
Oh, that sounds like a challenge. That sounds
with.
like a challenge. Well, you wouldn't be allowed to hit her back.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Have you ever had a bit of a rumble?
I've had a couple. I remember someone in school said something about my mum.
Oh, it's red rag
Yeah,
football, that.
afterwards it was like, you got to have a rumble with him. So I whopped him one on the chops, he just took it, and then he got me in a headlock, and then I cried, and then I was like, please get me out of it, I'm sorry. So I apologised.
Oh, so you ended up saying sorry to him?
Yeah, I look like a plum, yeah.
Honestly, I'm like that as well. Look, someone will do something to me, then I end up being the one to apologise every single time. But you mentioned mums there. We all dread the moment, don't we, that our parents just randomly turn up somewhere that we don't really want them to be. And here's an absolutely classic example of this, when one American TV reporter was visited by his mum whilst he was actually at work.
This is my mom, hold on. Hi, baby! I'm trying to work right now, and you're over there calling my phone. This is D'Angelo, you can say hi. And don't be holding up traffic because you got cars behind you.
Does that remind you of anything at all? Have you ever been in
I'm that mum.
You're that mum?
I'm that mum. My son, he's 2. When he gets to that age, hi, baby! Trust me, that is me in 20 years to come.
Do you think, was your mum ever like that or not?
Yeah, so my mum was a little bit of a, she was a brute.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day. So she passed away now, but she,
sorry.
that's right, that's fine. But she, a rumour went around in school that a rumour was going around, and it was being said that I was spreading the rumour, which I wasn't. And then I was getting a little bit of hate from a sixth former. I was in year 9 at the time. And then my mum was like, what's going on? I told her, and she drove me to school. Long story short, got into school. There was a big school assembly.
Oh, gosh.
She frog marched me into the assembly hall and was like to the head teacher, you either sort this out or I will. So they don't make mums like that anymore.
No, they don't. And you know what? I'm not against that, actually. I'm not against that. Anyway, right, thank you very much, you two. Earlier in the show, we're just going to round off this hour with a bit of you, the viewer. So earlier in the show, I asked for your thoughts on whether the UK should start thinking about accepting Ukrainian refugees as a result of this conflict. So this is obviously Postperson Pat, where we get your posts and we put them out there to the nation. Paul on Twitter, he was in touch. There we go. Let's have a look at this one then. We should take refugees from Ukraine. These people are in danger of losing their lives. As far as I'm concerned, that should be automatic qualification. But all other NATO nations should take their share as well. To be honest with you, that seems perfectly reasonable, really, I think, as far as I'm concerned. Somebody else on Twitter, I don't think there was a name on this one. Yes, 100%. These aren't economic migrants. They are fleeing from war. And that is unequivocal, isn't it, at the end of the day? No one can possibly say that this lot would be wanting to come here just purely for economic reasons. I mean, for goodness sake, Putin's rolled the tanks in, hasn't he? Barry, on GBViews, he's emailed in. Thank you, Barry. If we're going to compare Putin with anyone, it must be Stalin. He's more interested in another Soviet state. And on balance, Stalin killed far more than Hitler. Gosh, goodness me. Including 6 million Ukrainians. I suppose there are some similarities there. And actually, our Home and Security editor, Mark White, earlier on in the day when I was doing my other show, To The Point, 10 till 12, cheeky little plug, he said to me, look, the comparisons with Hitler aren't necessarily fair because actually a lot of Russians died when they were fighting against Hitler, etc. But I think we all get what people mean, don't we, anyway? Leslie, on GBViews as well. We took the Balkan refugees in the 1990s and it was a success. This is a large island. This is what you would say, really, isn't it? This is a large island. We should give temporary residence on the condition that this is reversed when Ukraine is on a level again. Now, it's interesting, actually. I went over to Turkey just after the military coup, and they were having a lot of refugees over there from Syria as well and from Iraq. And the ones I spoke to over there said, look, we want our country to go back to normal so we can go home, right? They didn't want to have to leave. They left because of the war. And so, yeah, I can see the logic behind that. I think we've just got time for one more. Julie. Of course we should take in these refugees there. These are genuine, displaced, desperate people. Oh, I'll squeeze another one in as well. GBViews. Patrick, you're only showing one side of the argument. Here we go. Vlad the Bad. You need to show the background to the conflict in a balanced way. Well, Henry, you're perfectly entitled to your view, and of course we have just aired it, so that's a bit of balance, but to be honest with you, it doesn't look to me as though he cares a lot about human life. Anyway, thank you for all of your messages, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you on the show. Plenty more to come here on Friday Night Feast. In the next hour, we'll be meeting our dog of the week, trying to rehome a dog. Absolutely get in touch. Have you got room for a very little cutie called Yoko? And our national treasure. See you shortly.
Hello, many areas enjoyed a dry and bright day on Friday, and that dry weather looks set to continue for many areas through this weekend. Probably the best of the sunshine across England and Wales towards the south and east, more cloud elsewhere, and some strong winds in the far northwest as well. If we look at the pressure pattern then, we can see the reason why. This area of high pressure brought all the dry weather through Friday, and that will hang around for much of this coming weekend, slowly pushing its way eastwards. But weather fronts will topple around that high, bringing stronger winds and some rain across parts of the north and the west. And that's the case through Friday evening and overnight. Quite cloudy across Scotland, Northern Ireland, some patchy light rain or drizzle, turning breezy here as well, but elsewhere across England and Wales it will be dry, clear, and under those clear skies it will turn quite cold as well. Temperatures even in towns and cities falling quite close to freezing, colder in rural spots, but temperatures holding up underneath all that cloud further northwest. So as we start Saturday morning then, it's a bright but quite chilly start across much of England and Wales. Lots of sunshine first thing, and those temperatures will respond to that sunshine as we head through the day, so staying fine here, but more cloud as we head across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England. Still the odd spot of rain or drizzle, but I think most places will be dry, but it will be rather windy across the north and the west. Again, particularly the Western Isles where we can see some gales. Here we're looking at highs of 9 or 10, but mild further towards the south in that sunshine. As we head through the rest of Saturday evening and overnight then, I think most places will be dry. Those clear skies extending further north, so turning quite clear across northern England into eastern Scotland as well. Most of the rain tending to peter out across Scotland and Northern Ireland. The winds slowly easing as we head through the night as well. And again, quite a chilly night to come across England and Wales. Probably too much for a breeze to stop it turning too cold, but again that bit milder further towards the north and the west. Quick look ahead to Sunday then. I think for the bulk of the country it's looking like a fine day. Lots of sunshine across England, Wales, brighter day for northern England and into eastern Scotland as well. Always more cloud though once again across western Scotland, Northern Ireland. Patchy light rain or drizzle that's starting to creep into western Cornwall later in the day. Quick look ahead to the early part of next week. Monday's looking quite changeable with some rain, but gradually turning drier and brighter as we head through the week. I'll see you soon.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before. Basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Yes, hello everybody, it's 8 o'clock and there's plenty more for you to get your teeth stuck into here on Friday Night Feast with me, Patrick Christys. Coming up this hour, as the war in Ukraine intensifies, I'll be getting an update from those who are on the front line. We're going right to the front line. Also ahead, as we delve into the brilliant world of local news, we'll be hearing about the idiot thief who got caught by police after he posed with his stolen goods online. I'll be joined by our national treasure as well, who was awarded an MBE for his 20 years of fundraising. You won't want to miss our dog of the week as well. Look, little Yoko. You could be the proud owner of little Yoko. Yoko needs an owner. Yeah, see what I did there? Anyway, whatever. And our fake news Friday is also barking mad. What do you think, hello, about cancelling white chocolate? The world's gone mad, hasn't it? More. But first, it's time for your latest news headlines with Olivia Guthrie.
Thank you. Here are the latest headlines in the GB newsroom. The Prime Minister has told NATO that a catastrophe is engulfing Ukraine, warning that President Putin's ambitions might not stop there. It follows claims by Russia's defence ministry that it's captured a strategic airfield outside Kiev, cutting the capital off from the west. There are also reports of artillery rounds heard in the capital and loud blasts in the eastern city of Kharkiv. Britain's Defence Intelligence Chief says Russian forces are advancing on two fronts towards Kiev. Putin is calling on Ukrainian servicemen to overthrow their government.
I once again appeal to the military personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine. Do not allow neo-Nazis and Ukrainian radical nationalists to use your children, wives and elders as human shields. Take power into your own hands. It will be easier for us to reach agreement.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's defence ministry claims that 2,800 Russian soldiers have died during the conflict. In a show of unity, President Vladimir Zelensky released footage of himself and other officials in the district of Lipki in Kiev, stressing they'll defend the capital.
We are all here. Our soldiers are here. The citizens are here. And we are here. We defend our independence. That's how it will go. Glory to our defenders, both male and female.
Well, Ukraine's youngest ever member of parliament, Sviatoslav Yurash, is in Kiev. He says they need help.
We are facing heavy fights everywhere. Very hard to discern information coming forward, what is true, what is not. But the battles in Kiev continue. Again, shells behind me falling. And again, this is modern Europe. This is the biggest war in Europe since the Second World War. And the world needs to wake up and support us in this fight in every way it can. Because if it is allowed here, destruction of the single biggest European state, this will spread.
Meanwhile, a driver is lucky to be alive after a tank drove over his car in Ukraine. Footage shows the tank apparently veering towards the smaller vehicle before crushing it with its occupant still inside. It happened in Obolon, an area just north of Kiev. A group of locals later helped to get the driver out of his destroyed car. TV, online and DAB+ radio. This is GB News. Now it's back to Patrick.
Yes, hello everybody. Friday Night Feast with Patrick Christys here on GB News. Now, we've seen shocking footage of missiles thudding into buildings. Russian troops at Chernobyl's radioactive site. A CNN reporter bumped into some Russian special forces at an airport by chance after they were parachuted in overnight. A Sky News reporter had to cut short a broadcast to dive into a bomb shelter. There have been some more harrowing images and videos as well that we've seen here at GB News, but decided for obvious reasons not to show you, simply because they were far too distressing. Bodies in the streets, fireballs erupting from buildings with people still trapped inside. Our thoughts go out to the victims. But it's important to remember one other thing as well. There is someone holding that camera, bringing that news to us, running towards the bullets, towards the missiles, so that we can all be informed about what's going on. War correspondency has changed in recent years. There used to be a time when war correspondents could hop into a white Land Rover and drive from one front line to the other, speak to both sides and be relatively confident that you get out alive. But now, all too often, they're actually the ones targeted. We all remember the succession of harrowing incidents where journalists were beheaded by ISIS thugs in the Middle East. These brave, intrepid journalists operate at the sharp end of the most dangerous situations in the world. They put their lives at risk, but they also save lives. Why? Well, because without them, then nobody would be held to account, would they? If there were no cameras around, Vladimir Putin could do absolutely anything he likes. He could carpet bomb Kiev. He could detonate a small nuclear warhead. He could gas people, use chemical weapons. His behaviour is beyond appalling, in my opinion, but just imagine how bad it would be if nobody was looking. There is a reason why, whenever there is a military coup, one of the first things the plotters come for are the media outlets. What drives these people, though? What makes them tick? Does it become an addiction? How do they justify to their families and their children that they're leaving them behind to go to the front line and shoot some footage? Do they get scared? Well, tonight, right here on Friday Night Feast, those questions can finally be answered. I am joined now by Alex Lowry, a photographer who is currently in Kiev, and you will have seen a lot of his pictures on the front pages, actually, as well today. Look, thank you very, very much for joining us. You had that famous picture, now famous picture of, there you go, you can see it there on the front of The Independent. Look, just explain to me what makes you tick, what made you want to decide that you were going to kind of go to the front line, as it were?
Well, actually, that particular picture, I have a very similar one because we encountered that woman, Helena, 53-year-old teacher, together. But actually, my buddy who's sitting in the other room now took the one that's on The Independent. So what motivates us? That's a pretty long question. I think that for me personally, I'm a pretty anxious guy. I have anxiety issues. I think that when I'm at home, I have the same level of anxiety as I do in a situation like this. The only difference is when I'm at home, I'm worrying about, oh, geez, did I forget to buy this thing at the supermarket, or did I say the wrong thing to that girl or whatever? And here, I have the same level of anxiety, but it's like, okay, like, do I have to be here? Are the Russians coming over here? Am I going to die? Am I going to get captured? And it's like, and now it's useful.
But talk to me about that. Talk to me about that. You know, the fear of death. I mean, that must be on your mind. You've said it is on your mind. How do you overcome that?
How do I overcome it? Well, I guess, that's the thing about death. You either die or you don't. And, you know, if you don't, then you're kind of okay. I think that you have to be smart. You don't want your mom crying over your coffin. But on the other hand, I think this stuff is a lot more possible to do than people think. I mean, we get a lot of attention because we're running into it and we make the decision to do it. But we're just one out of usually hundreds of people who are there. And you know, there's children there, there's civilians there. And, you know, they're just as brave as we are, except they don't have, you know, an American passport that they can just leave whenever they want.
Just talk to me a bit about what the situation is actually like on the ground now. I mean, you know, what kind of stuff have you seen, really?
It totally varies. You know, it varies from abject horror and depressing, infuriating, hellish nightmare worlds, and then boredom and waiting and sitting around and wondering what you should do. That's kind of what conflict is.
Yeah, well, it certainly looks that way, absolutely. How afraid of the Russians are the local people, or are they just bang up for this fight?
You know, everyone's different. They're individual human beings, the same way that a Brit or an American would react to. You know, you'd have some people who totally are horrified. They want to protect their kids. They want to get their pets out of harm's way, whatever it is. And then you have other guys who are like, let's rock and roll, let's rumble, like, let's bring the fight to them. You know, and everything in between. It depends on the individual.
From what you've seen so far of the way that the Russians have behaved, do you think that there is a chance, really, that they could end up targeting civilians as well?
Well, I'm not in the room when they make those decisions, but I have seen them hit civilians. That's what I'll say. I've seen them kill civilians.
And what's that like for you to watch?
You know, we try to get the job done. You know, you're in these situations and you know that it's so weird. Imagine if your loved one had just died and someone from a foreign country showed up and has a camera in your face and you're mourning or hoping they're still breathing or something. And there's this guy with the camera, you know, we eat those emotions, and we eat the emotions that anyone sees. And when they see another human being or an animal suffer, you know, animals suffer greatly in these situations. But you do your job. You got to get those images made. People need to know what war is, and then you cry it out with your friends over a beer afterwards.
And it's that phrase that you just said there, people need to know what war is. If people like you weren't there, Alex, do you think Putin would be doing much worse stuff?
I don't have a whole lot of insight into Putin's psychology. I think that, you said right before I went on something about accountability, and I think what is extremely frustrating for us is we don't feel like there's accountability, because we see kids and women and children and soldiers and dogs and cats get butchered by these politicians and military men, and it just keeps going. So like we feel pretty impotent. Really, we don't feel like we're bringing anyone to account, because we know it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. It's depressing, to be honest, but you got to keep doing it.
Have you been to other war zones?
I have, yeah. I actually, you mentioned the ISIS conflict right before I went on, and that's sort of where I cut my teeth. And you mentioned the change in war correspondency, and a lot of the old guard, a lot of the people who were mentoring our generation talk kind of wistfully about those days. But when me or my friends were getting into it, it's like you're target number one. Like you're not a hard target. You're not going to fight back. Like just. And ISIS thought you were part of Western crusading ideology, and God only knows what the Russians think, but I'm not going to get captured and find out, tortured, think I'm a spy or used as a hostage in diplomacy. Like, we're not protected people at all.
No, well, I would just like to say thank you very much for the very, very important work that you do. And obviously, it's so difficult for you to have to go and see all of this stuff, but everyone should be very grateful that you are, because without you kind of sticking your lens in there, as it were, then frankly anything could go on. And I said it before, I'll say it again, I think you guys risk your own lives in order to save others. So thank you very much. Alex Lowry there, who's a photographer currently
means a lot.
Kiev. Now, I believe I'm going to be able to go over to another person who's on the ground. He's actually a civilian there. His wife is indeed Ukrainian. He's not actually come home. He's obviously not left his wife behind. And it's Thomas Jones, who's originally from London. How are you, Thomas?
Tired,
yes?
Stressed. It's been a long week. Really
What's
long
the
week.
situation like right where you are now? Just tell our viewers and our listeners, of course, on radio as well, and indeed our YouTube viewers, exactly where you are and what's going on where you are.
Right, I'm in Lviv, which is in the western part of Ukraine, which is close to the Polish border. It's pretty heavy here. A lot of people coming up from Kiev, escaping from Kiev, and heading towards the Polish border right now.
OK, has there been much military action where you are so far?
No military action, but a lot of military movement. I live quite close to an academy for officers. There's another base, and also I've got the Secret Service office near me. So you can see there's a hive of activity going on. The other morning when the war was declared, the academy was pretty full-on busy.
OK, all right. And you've obviously seen and must have heard from people as well within the country about the reality of what's taking place in other parts of Ukraine. How does that make you feel, you and your family feel?
Well, I've been here since 2015, a year after, it all kind of kicked off here. So, I've been watching this, for this is my 7th year in Ukraine. I have friends in the military. I have friends in Kiev that have actually gone to volunteer this evening. So, it hits home. It's not an easy thing to stand by and watch. I know people in Sumy, I know people in Lugansk. So it's difficult.
We've seen harrowing videos today of, I'm sure you must have done as well, this tank essentially just run over what looks to be a civilian car. Do you think you're just going up against animals here? I don't know if I should say this, but somebody in England sent me a video today that somebody sent him, and it pretty much upset me. I can't go into what it was about, but it was animalistic behaviour from Russian soldiers to dead Ukrainian soldiers. I'm not going to go any further because that really got me today. It's just reckless, no respect for the dead, no respect for the public. It's disgusting. Yeah, it obviously is. And look, is there any chance for you to get out of the country with your family at all?
I've been trying with the Home Office to get a visa for my wife. Pretty fruitless. And if you want my honest opinion, the Home Office have been pretty useless. I'm going to head to the border tomorrow with my wife, and we'll see what happens. We have reports of maybe missile attacks tonight. There's a curfew tonight. After this interview, I've got to switch the lights off. We're going to shut shop, close everything down, and head to Poland, and then take it from there.
Well, obviously, good luck to you and to your family as well. We're running a question now with our viewers and with our listeners at gbviews at gbnews.uk if anyone wants to email in, and loads of them have, which is whether or not now this country should be really going out of its way to take in Ukrainian refugees. There can be no secrets anymore, ladies and gentlemen, about what's happening over there at the moment. We know the extent of it, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better anytime soon. Do you think at home that we should be taking in Ukrainian refugees? Your views on that, please, and your message to the British public.
Do I think? Yeah, I think you should. It's always happening. There's always refugees. It's an ongoing thing worldwide. Poland has got very strong ties with Ukraine. They've got a very, very long history. The town that I live in, the city I live in, is Lviv. It was a Polish city, then it was Austro-Hungarian. So there's very close ties and a very good friendship with Poland. I think that this is a serious problem. It's a European problem, and if any help can be given to the Ukrainian people, then please do if you can. This is not good at all. It shouldn't be happening.
No, and it's a NATO-wide problem actually, which involves, frankly, America, Canada, all these countries. But look, thank you very much, and good luck to you, Thomas Jones there, who's originally from London, who's now stuck in Ukraine with his family, hoping to make his way to Poland tomorrow, by the sounds of things. Anyway, my panel now, TV personality Nadia Essex, and of course, Crazy Ginger Cabby, Aaron Courtnell, who are still here with me, as you can see. And look, your reaction initially to what we heard from Thomas Jones there.
Heartbreaking. I mean, I think for me, the sort of craziest part of that is when he said that there's a curfew and they have to switch off the lights.
Yeah.
Like, that must be so scary.
It's like a blitz, isn't it?
Yeah. And it just, that, of all the things he said, and I know he said a lot, but it was like, wow, this is where we're at, that if you leave a light on, you could be, there could be deathly consequences.
Yeah.
And again, I think I said at the beginning, I just wish we could do something. I feel so powerless and out of control, and I just wish there was something we could do.
Yeah, we also, Aaron, to bring you in, we had that war photographer there, Alex Lowry. What do you make of people like that and what he had to say?
I think people like him are a different breed. They're very brave, they're courageous, and if, like you say, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get the news that we need to make us realise that this is actually going on in the world. And that the poor chap there, Thomas, he's like talking about turning the lights off. I mean, these are stories you heard from the old people, like your granddads and your grandparents and all that, and telling you had to turn the lights off just because of the blitz and all that. And when you read about it, when you hear about it from your elders, you're like, oh yeah, okay, so it's just a knock-off comment. But when you actually hear someone actually say it, it's a real thing.
Yeah. And you can see it now as well. All you have to do is go on TikTok, because there's hundreds of lives in Ukraine at the moment with just sirens.
Yeah.
Just sirens, and it's
what
like...
a horrible noise, isn't it?
Awful.
What a horrible noise. Yeah. That noise sets something off in the human brain, I think. And when you hear it, you know that essentially death is around the corner. They also mentioned, Aaron, there some of the behaviour, allegedly anyway. We don't need to see allegedly, do we? We've seen the clips of various things about the Russian soldiers. How does that make you feel?
It's filth. Like, there's no need for it. You're gonna get like rogue soldiers and do things like that. And are they getting told on the quiet, just do what you want because it's his war? Go and do what you have to do. They're in a tank. Someone's obviously trying to flee somewhere or go somewhere, and you see him size it up, go over him, and I just think that's utter filth, to be honest with you.
Barbaric, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's just no... I can't imagine... You must be wired very, very differently to, like, a normal human to think that that's acceptable behaviour.
I suspect that they're doing some of these things early on. Hey, they might just be like this in general, some of the elements of the Russian military. We don't know, do we? But I suspect they might be doing some of this early on to whip up that fear in people as well. Get this done, show it to the world. They know it goes out there. And then I suspect that maybe the logic there is that more people will flee, fewer civilians there, and they can just roll on through. But anyway, still to come on Friday Night Feast. We're obviously moving away from that now, and we're delving deep into the world of local news. I love local news. I used to be a local reporter up in Kendal in Cumbria, the Westmoreland Gazette. Fantastic job, fantastic place to work. Absolutely bonkers local news stories. And finding out why this outraged video of a train has gone viral. Plus, we're also going to be trying to rehome this dog. Our dog of the week, it's little Yoko. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gents.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before. It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. Pleasure to have you on board for Friday Night Feast. Now, it's time for Round Your Parts, where we dig deep to find some of the absolute gems of local news. So first up, we head up to Newcastle. So, hoodies from Greggs Primark range, yeah, that's right, have been selling fast. Those who were not lucky enough to get their hands on the coveted clothes are finding that they are now fetching up to 8 times the retail price online. So, Greggs hoodies are originally 18 quid, and they're now going for £140, right? So if you'd missed this story, yeah, it is as simple as that. Greggs and Primark, absolute dream team, match made in heaven, decided that finally they were going to do a joint clothing range, and people are loving it. It's become a cult clothes. Anyway, Nadia, would you be seen dead in one of those?
Maybe dead. Maybe dead. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the quality. I know it's Primark.
I once bought a set of shoes from Primark and I put them on and they'd broken before I left the shop.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen. But for 18 quid, not too shabby. £140, definitely not.
I think it's going to be a bit of a cult thing. I mean, you're a dapper chap, mate.
This is my best clothes, this is. This hasn't been seen for a couple of years, but yeah, just if your name's Greg, obviously, then it's a nice little gift your bird can get you. But try and get the Americans to say Greg. They can't. They say Craig.
Yeah, that's true.
Say it.
No, that is true, actually. Apparently, they were doing a bit of viral marketing with this stuff. So when they were going into the shops, people were trying it on, and they'd put their hand in the pocket, and there would be a sausage roll in there.
Ew.
Or a steak bake, yeah.
Oh, well,
in a wrapper.
Yeah, but who wants a gammy old sausage roll that's cold and droopy?
If it's warm, then it's done its job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ew.
I'd eat anything, to be fair. I eat stuff off the floor sometimes. Anyway, moving on, over to Liverpool now, and one thief decided that he would pose on social media with bikes he'd just stolen as if they were trophies. So obviously this guy, I imagine we did a conversation about universities earlier, didn't we? I very much doubt that he actually went to one, but anyway. However, the shoot backfired on him when the police decided to trace the account. So he had no choice but to admit his guilt, and he was jailed for a year. Aaron, has Instagram ever got you in trouble?
I've got myself in trouble on sort of Instagram by some of the stuff that I post.
Because you've got loads of Instagram followers, haven't you?
Yep, yes I do. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. So it's, some of the stuff that I post is like near to the mark. I just sort of tell it how it is. I take the mickey out of like everyday life and whatever, and so people are. But I've got a few sort of warnings from Instagram to say one more and you're off. So I've had to create a backup account.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think I'm one away from losing that. So over 100,000 followers, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. All right, what's the old tag if people want to get you on Instagram?
The @ is a crazy ginger cabbie, and there's underscores on that one, and there's just a crazy ginger cabbie one as well. So there's two.
There's two. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Have you ever had anything stolen?
Yeah, I've had things stolen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just burgled or mugged?
Well, actually, I was moving, and the movers lost about £2,000 worth of my stuff, and never to see it again. Insurance wouldn't cover it, and yeah, it was some expensive stuff. So I must admit, I was then on eBay for like 6 weeks after.
Yeah.
Looking, I had a pair of like Jimmy Choo boots, and I was looking for these boots because I was like, they're going to try and sell them.
I'm going to ask you another question now, but before I do, I just want to get it again in my ear. Am I allowed to ask her this? Yeah. So apparently you stole stuff from Boots when you were younger.
And she's got a degree.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, very, very, very young. I was with a friend of mine, and I won't say her name.
No, you better not.
But yeah, we really, really, really wanted this like purple hair dye, and we were like 50p short, so we was like, let's just put it in the bag and go. So we had a 5-finger discount for a purple hair dye.
Well, I once said I was a local reporter up in Cumbria, Westmoreland Gazette, represent, and I always used to have to go to the local magistrates' court every week, and it was bad actually because sometimes you see a lot of your mates in there. But anyway, this one guy walked in and he had all of his possessions in a fishing net behind his waist. His address was listed as The Woods, and what he'd stolen was a 72p candle. And because he'd done so many offences, he actually went down for that. Yeah. But anyway, so there we go. Now, the Northern Echo, cracking paper, the Northern Echo. University student Aisha Khan has been thrust into the spotlight after she posted an average video of a passing train on TikTok. And for some reason, it just went absolutely viral. So have a look at this and see if you can just think why. Everyone on radio who's just listening to us now, I should point out, this is literally just a video of one train slowly passing another train. But the reason why it's gone viral, apparently, is because there's people are saying it's a snapshot of Britain. You've got people there, face down asleep on the desk, some people working away, some people chatting to each other, some people drinking their beers and everything like that. I think it's a bit funny, isn't it, really?
I think so, but that's the state we're in at the minute. Like, we're all bored. What do? Take a picture of a train. All it needed there was a load of louts just to punch the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
That's all you're missing.
I agree. I mean, do you travel on train regularly, or do you try to swerve it? You struck me as a first-class kind of train passenger.
Thank you very much. Yeah, if I can. But I do like people watching. I find people fascinating, especially in those like boring situations like that, because you literally see the mundaneness of life. And it's actually quite interesting.
It is. It's a weird one, isn't it? Anyway, now, a creepy one from the Manchester Evening News. This is something no one wants after a 12-hour shift. But when A&E nurse Justine finished her shift and ordered food on Uber Eats to her house, she was left absolutely gobsmacked. After handing over the delivery, she claims the driver proceeded to keep messaging her on the app, which made her feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable. He also told her that he'd give her his number anyway in case one day she'd be interested, and continued to ring her number after that as well. Nadia, have you ever had any concerning situations like this at all?
Swear to God, the movers that lost my stuff then decided to text me late, like for about 3 or 4 weeks afterwards, and then asked me out on a date.
Wow.
And I was like, hun, you lost £2,000 worth of my stuff. and now you want to take me to the cinema. It's a no from me.
Was it an everyman cinema?
No, I didn't even get that far. It was just a simple thank you, no, block, delete, goodbye.
Do you strike me as someone who takes people on quite good dates?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Be creative or not?
No, not really.
I once saw someone propose at a Weatherspoons and I thought, oh, mate. She said yes. She said yes.
But from there, you can only go up. So if you start at the top, like, I don't know, the Shard or the Oxford Hotel or whatever, after that, you're going to beat it? You're not, are you?
It's not about beating it, it's about maintaining it.
Yeah, but maintaining it costs money.
Yeah. And you cab drivers, you earn serious bucks, so
no, not over the last couple
it.
of years. No, definitely not. It's all a myth.
It's all a myth. All right, finally, we're going all the way up to Glasgow with the Glasgow Evening Times. Now, a drug dealer was so drunk that he accidentally posted 1,000 Valium tablets through the wrong letterbox and then proceeded to terrify the woman to try to get them back. Would you have kept them, Aaron?
Yeah, I probably would have played games with him or just thrown them out at him one by one. Or just resold them.
Resold them? Wow, yeah. I suppose you could make quite good money off that.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you could say to him, how much do you want them back?
You see, that's the mind, isn't it? Yeah. That's the wheeler dealer on me. I think I'd have just, well, I don't know, flushed them down the loo or something.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, you see, but that's different people. Different people, anyway. Right, Nadia, if you could have anything accidentally posted through your letterbox, what do you think it would be?
Gift-wrapped Elon Musk.
Actual Elon Musk?
Yeah, just shove him through my box. I will happily accept.
Sorry, what? Shove him through your what? It's a family.
We're talking about letterboxes. Excuse me.
Say letterbox then.
Pull
yourself
together.
Elon, if you're watching, mate, you're in. Okay? Yeah. You're in. Okay, I know he's a big watcher of the show, but anyway, right. Well, look, that's obviously it for Round Your Parts. But now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for this. Well, no, me neither, anyway. Earlier, we asked whether you think the UK should start accepting Ukrainian refugees, like they're doing in Ireland. Now, here are some of your thoughts. It's Postperson Pat. We always like to be about you here on GB News. So, one Twitter user says, we offered our Ukrainian friend a house to stay at in the UK, and she told us today that she cannot come with her family because Ukraine is prohibiting men aged 18 to 60 years old from leaving the country. They really are trying to cling on to as many people as they can get to have this, to mobilise this civilian force, aren't they? And that is pretty devastating stuff, really. Dave on Twitter. Let them live in the oligarchs' empty mansions in London. I'll tell you what, that would mug Putin right off, wouldn't it? You ended up in a situation there where all of his oligarchs have had their assets stripped off them and they fill it with a load of Ukrainian refugees. I'll tell you what, I like the way you think, Dave. Anyway, Tom, how is this even a debate? Yes, as many as possible. Follow Poland's lead on this. It really is an interesting one, though, because I know I just read out a few there. I obviously do have the inbox in front of me as well, and I can see a variety of opinions. And some people are saying, no, look, we are not actually this big island. We don't actually have a lot of spare housing. We have a lot of homeless military veterans, for example. Could we be housing these people? So it is a bit more of a mixed bag. But anyway, David says, they deserve to be welcomed with open arms and well looked after. These are genuine refugees. Illegal immigration should be controlled so we can welcome as many genuine refugees as we need to. And look, I've got to be honest with you, I completely agree with that view, David, and that's really one of my views, which is that actually, if we can cut down on illegal immigration and we can cut down on, well, I suppose some of the resources that are taken up by that, then actually maybe we can do a bit more with Ukrainian refugees. I know there's a variety of views on this, but for my view is we haven't got a magic money tree, and actually these are some people who we really should be going for. But anyway, Philip, GB News, because he nodded, shaking her head. There we go. GB Views, Philip goes, I bet you got bullied at school. You boxed like a little girl, Patrick. Thanks, Philip. And also thank you to my team, who've just made me read that one out on the National Airways. In case you missed it, this was, of course, my Challenge Christys, where I got in the ring with a professional boxer in Luton. And that was because I was challenged to by one of you. But, yeah, thanks, Philip. Anyway, meet me in the ring and I'll box that sexism right out of you, mate. Yeah? I will. I'm telling you. Yes. I will. Anyway, Leslie on GB News. Hi, Patrick. Have you ever fancied trying your hand at painting Blackpool Tower? We haven't got all year, Leslie. I've got to get this done in an afternoon. It's a giant rolling pin, that, isn't it? Surely. Anyway, there we go. Plenty more to come here on Friday Night Feast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, everyone who's been tuning in so far. Fake News Friday, as for one unlucky Jack Russell as well. We've got that coming your way. What do you think, hello, about cancelling white chocolate? The world's gone mad, hasn't it? I'm going to leave you to ponder this question before that, so you can think about it over this very short advert break. In what year was the first white chocolate bar released? Was it 1850, 1900 or 1930? I'll have the answer after this very short break.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
On Mark Dolan tonight, all of your questions about Ukraine answered by one of the most respected voices on military matters, Robert Fox, the defence editor of the Evening Standard. In The Big Question, will the Ukraine crisis crash the British economy? And in my Big Opinion monologue, the woke West has brought this crisis onto itself. It's time for the free world to man up. Plus my alternative news headlines, tonight featuring Gary Lineker. And my all-star panel. See you at 9.
Yes, welcome back, everybody, to Friday Night Feast. Thank you for everyone who's been getting in touch. Now, before the break, I asked, in what year was the first white chocolate bar released? 1850, 1900 or 1930? Well, the answer is it's 1930. So there you go. Well done, everyone at home who got that right. Now, the reason I was asking you this question because I decided to go out and just trick the public, really, for this week's Fake News Friday. The news agenda is mad enough as it is, so I chose a completely made-up story that's just the right side of believable to try to get the good people of Britain to react. So here it is. There's a petition to ban white chocolate because people think it sounds racist.
Ridiculous, isn't it? Clearly.
The world's gone mad.
The world's already mad. It hasn't gone mad because of that.
It's rubbish.
They shouldn't do
it. I don't believe it. Like all the other stuff out there, it's rubbish, isn't it?
No, there's no harm in that. Not white chocolate, man. Definitely not racist.
I mean, I don't think it's racist at all. Yeah. It's just white chocolate, and I mean, it depends on your opinion, I guess.
I do hate white chocolate. It's pretty rancid. I'd always go for dark chocolate myself.
Well.
But yeah, it's definitely the lower tier of the three, of the main milk, dark, and white.
Yeah.
But I disagree with the banning.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, why not?
Because it's chocolate that's white.
That might be going a little too far, I think.
That's encouraging.
No, it's not actually. One person and one person only thought that wasn't true, which sums up where we are. Bear in mind, the other week they banned midget gems because they didn't want to offend little people. Anyway, panel, would you have fallen for that? I don't think so. You'd be too eyes wide open for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I think the way we are at the minute, I think that anything's believable. But what I would have done is probably bought a load of them and then flogged them for 140 quid each. like the Greg's outfits. That's what I would have done. And ate a few, of course.
Well, naturally. To be fair, I do think white chocolate is rubbish.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm like our friend on that little video there, I'm more of a dark chocolate man myself.
I like a dark chocolate, but you can't beat a Milky Way.
Oh.
That's the white in the middle, isn't it? Or Milky Bar.
A Milky Bar?
Yeah.
Well, actually, what they wanted me to do for that originally was to sit on a horse with a cowboy hat on and dress up as the Milky Bar kid, but we haven't got the time or money. Yeah.
And plus, you're too short to get on the horse, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much, mate. You can come back any time you like. Do you think that, because the wider picture of that story, right, was that actually the reason why it's believable is because we have gone a bit woke here, haven't we? Do you feel as though we've gone too woke in this country, or do you think it's just...
I feel like woke's been hijacked. When it first sort of came about, it was just about people that had woken up to propaganda and, you know, media bias and all that sort of stuff. And now it's kind of moved into this hijacking of, like, everything is bad and it's PC gone mad and political. Everything's got to be, like... it's totally believable they could ban white chocolate.
Absolutely. It was probably only a matter of time, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, or rename it at least, repackage it, rebrand it, just to...
Caucasian chocolate.
Could be. And so, I think it's been... woke's been hijacked. I think that's the problem, is that the virtue signalling of people is just through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said white chocolate's the most privileged kind of chocolate.
Yeah, but it's like Nadia said, it's not the best.
No.
I wouldn't say dark chocolate is either.
Oh, you're straight down the middle.
But that fella there in that, I don't know what he was wearing, but you could say the same about me, but he was a bit far too passionate about it, putting it into tears and stuff, like you like what you like. You like what you like. Right, OK, well, look, now it's time to reveal our national treasure. So this is, of course, an individual who's gone out of their way, not really a normal kind of man or woman, who has just done something exceptional. He's dedicated their lives to a particular cause and really achieved something. We want to kind of highlight and elevate people here, normal people. We've had enough of all the celebs and all this lot, and people who just want to be famous. Andrew Baker was given an MBE after, get this, 20 years of fundraising. And Andrew joins me now. Thank you very, very much. Andrew, welcome to the show. I believe he is actually there, is he? Oh, OK.
Hello there.
There we go. OK. Thank you very much. Andrew, congratulations. You are this week's National Treasure. You are an absolute legend. You have been anointed now as our second ever National Treasure here on GB News. Just explain to our listeners exactly what you do for your fundraising.
So I run Play to Give, which is an Oxford-based fundraising organisation. We are 15 years old this year, and I've been fundraising since I was 14. So I've just marked 20 years of fundraising. I was 14 when I first began fundraising, and I just wanted to raise £500 initially to help to build the funding of a specialist children's hospital here in Oxford as a way to say thank you, really, for the treatment that I'd gone through since birth. And Play to Give has become quite an institution in Oxfordshire and royally recognised too.
Yes, good stuff. Just talk to me a little bit there about what you just mentioned, which is the treatment that you'd been given since birth.
Yes, so when I was born, I spent my time down in the neonatal care unit at the John Radcliffe Hospital. It transpired in life that it was due to brain injury. So I went through special needs schooling from a very, very young age. And when I was born, I was in intensive care. Basically, they didn't know if I was going to live or not.
So over the course... go on. Carry on, Andrew. Sorry, I cut you off there. Carry on.
And then I suffered a further head injury when I was 8. And then that resulted in brain surgery down at the Radcliffe Infirmary, as it was back then. And then that inspired my fundraising. Here we are today, 20 years later, over £380,000 raised through all the fundraising events that we do, all through the gifts that we do as Slay to Give, which is our festive spin-off. And that's all about bringing cheer, joy, smiles as well.
Well, that's fantastic. And look, it's obviously rewarding for everyone that benefits from the tremendous work that you do. But is it rewarding for you as well to just give something back selflessly?
It's always lovely. So I go to Headway Oxfordshire in Kennington. I've been under them now for nearly 10 years. And the difference that they've made to me as a person, and I've grown so much, kind of confidence bank, confidence, and a lot of my skills that I've relearnt. And so just go to Headway twice a week, being with my fellow brain injury service users, that's always really, really inspiring. Or whether it's going up to the children's hospital pre-COVID, onto the wards at Christmas, armed with toys and gifts, and meeting the families. For example, we opened the Play to Give room that we funded at £40,000, and we opened that room in 2017. And we always meet a young patient in there. Last time we went up in 2019, it became Seb's room. And that was it. Mum just couldn't stop thanking us enough. We gave him a Lego Star Wars set, or just whether it's other children and families in need that we help locally and all over Oxfordshire. It might be a child with the neurological condition, and we hope to fund funds to help them regain walking. It's always really, really inspiring, and you also meet some really amazing people in your own community, through your own fundraising, and then you meet them as well. It might even be like members of my family who've benefit from treatment, and that all makes it really more close to home. And members of my own team who've also got personal experience of whether it's using the Children's Hospital or Headway Oxfordshire, and it's always really humbling. And so always try to want you to do more, basically, as well as using your own personal experience.
And just before I ask you to tell us how people can donate and how people can get in touch with you and your organisation, what was it actually like getting an MBE?
That was a really amazing day. You can imagine my mum. It's something you never ever imagine is going to happen. And going to Windsor Castle and obviously the Queen's gaff, meeting the Princess Royal who pins it onto you is an amazing day. It's something that you never imagine. 20 years on. And it's brilliant for Play to Give, my team. We've got our upcoming ball coming up in March, a Hollywood-themed ball, and that's going to be a lovely way to mark, I think, my 20 years and sort of everything that we've done.
Tell us how, Andrew. Tell us how, Andrew, people can get in touch, people can donate, people can help out.
Yes, so best way is to go on to Google. So we're really good on social media. So we're on Facebook, Twitter. But if they go online and go in playtogive.org.uk, and that will come up with everything about Play to Give. There's a donate button on there. There's a contact form on there. They could do it that way. They can read more about my story and kind of be inspired and just see what we've been doing what I've been doing over the last 20 years for local people right here in the heart of Oxfordshire.
Well, you are indeed a national treasure, and I think we owe him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic stuff. Well done, Andrew. Well done for everything that you do. It brings tears to the eye, pretty much, doesn't it?
People like him are just, they're proper heroes, and it's selfless to him. It's fantastic. I mean, like, obviously his own story there as well. It's that's what drives him as well. And we just 20 years of it. MBEs should go to people like him.
Absolutely spot on, and I agree. That guy is an actual national treasure, and they don't get enough of a highlight, I believe, in this country. You see, look, it's very easy for a celebrity to, pop up once a year on Children in Need and do a little bike ride somewhere, which is all great, don't get me wrong, that's all brilliant stuff. But this guy's dedicated his entire life to fundraising for people.
Yeah, and articulate and knowledgeable and passionate, and he's a great spokesperson really for this whole country.
I agree. He is a national treasure. He's been our national treasure. But ladies and gentlemen as well, you might know people like Andrew. You might know people as well who you feel as though should be given that a bit of a push and a bit of recognition. So make sure you get in touch with my team, gbviews at gbnews.uk. Up and down the country, there are national treasures. We want to highlight as many of them as we possibly can. But it's time now to meet our dog of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. Every single week, we try to rehome a rescued dog, and Yoko is a 3-year-old, here we go, Judge Terrier, apparently. There we are. I'm sure there's going to be some people at Crufts now shouting at their TV screen saying I've mispronounced that, but he's been in the Cotswolds Cats and Dogs Home 286 days too long, hasn't he? Now, Yoko likes long countryside walks. Maybe we're going to be able to see this dog in a second. Likes long countryside walks and learning new tricks with his trainer. Yes, here we go. We speak now with Ebony Poole, Kennels Senior at the Cotswolds Cats and Dogs Home. There is Yoko owner. Yoko needs an owner. Yeah, it wasn't funny the first time I said it, but I'll say it again anyway. Look, tell me a little bit about Yoko, please.
So he has been in our kennels for a year this month. So it is a long time. Normally our general stay is sort of 2 to 3 weeks. So he is way overdue his stay, unfortunately. But he's got bags of character, bags of energy. He'll really thrive in sort of an outdoorsy home because he's always game for an adventure. We sort of envision in our head for him someone like who wants to go up mountains, hiking with him, and just generally exploring. Someone that's a real adventure seeker, really. He does sort of need to go to an adult-only home just because he can find children a bit distressing, unfortunately. From
I think we all can, to be fair.
Yeah. We can't blame him with that. But yeah, he does come with some challenges. He does have quite a high prey drive. So the breed was actually originally from Germany, and they are bred as a hunting dog. So obviously it is just in his nature, but that does mean that he will need to be on the leads, sort of on walks and things like that, which we do think has sort of put people off, really. And then also he has displayed some resource guarding behaviour, which isn't uncommon in the breed and also dogs in general. But we would want sort of an experienced owner that sort of dealt with them issues so that he can have a success in his home, really.
Look, I mean, it's a specialist dog potentially for a slightly more specialist home, but look, there are loads of people out there who wouldn't mind walking a dog on a lead, and he's only little anyway, so he's not one of those big dogs who's going to be pushing and pulling you all over the place, is he? Surely. And he looks like he's got. And he looks like he's a quick learner as well. Is that right?
Yeah, he walks really well on the lead, and he is really interactive with people. Sometimes he can, being obviously a hunter, sometimes he can be a bit like, oh, mouse, and then wanders off, but you can get him back. But he loves his food, which obviously makes training really easy. So yeah, he is very interactive.
Good stuff. So, oh gosh, I nearly knocked my table over. There you go. Good stuff. So basically, a home for someone who's, maybe an adult-only home. They like going on long walks. They like being active, and they don't mind walking on the lead. A very food-orientated as well. And I take it he doesn't mind curling up on the sofa either.
No, he absolutely loves it. He actually came home with me not that long ago, just for a little break from kennels, and he was definitely a little sofa dog as well. So yeah, he'll make a lovely companion.
Good stuff. And how could people get in touch with you if they want to decide that they've fallen in love with Yoko, as I think everyone probably has?
So you can go onto our website, and his profile will be on there as well. So there will be some more information on there about him. And our website is the cotswolddogsandcatshome.co.uk. But we are also as well quite big on Facebook, which is just the Cotswold Dogs and Cats Home CBCH. And then also on Instagram as well, which is just Cots, Dogs and Cats. And there's lots of stuff on there that would be able to guide you to fill out a perfect match form for him to start that process.
OK, well, I'm sure as well, look, if anyone does get in touch with us at GBNews at gbviews.uk wanting to offer Yoko a home, we'll make sure that we forward it on to you. We want to do this every single week here on Friday Night Feast, OK? We're a nation of animal lovers. I certainly am a dog lover. The fact is, though, unfortunately, I can't have one at the moment because I'm always here. But I would love to. I would love to. One of these days, I'll be able to rehome a dog. Emily Poole, thank you so much. Kennel Senior at the Cotswolds Cats and Dogs Home. Just going to ask you, are you a dog lover, or are you?
Yeah, I've got the family's got a few French bulldogs and a pug.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's all right, yeah. A bit farty, though, the French bulldogs, aren't they?
Yeah, they are in their early years, but then it depends on what you feed them and whatnot. But yeah, they can waft a few farts here and there.
It always lets you blame it on the dog, though, which is quite nice. When
That's good.
One,
And like, it's the same with kids. It's like you creep one out and then the missus will go like, who's done that? You just, it's a dog or a kid, isn't it? It's
a highbrow show, ladies and gents. It's a highbrow show. Are you a dog lover?
Yeah, I have a pommy poo.
A pommy poo?
Mm.
Oh, I was going to ask, what does that look like? But I don't suppose you could describe it.
A little toy poodle.
Oh, is it one of those really little ones?
Kind of, not miniature, but like a Pomeranian and a toy poodle cross.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, sadly, our family doesn't have a dog anymore, but I would love one. Like I said, it's just, you want to be able to give it the time, don't you? And I just couldn't do that at the moment, really, unfortunately. Also, I don't think my landlord would be too happy. But, well, look, I must say, I've thoroughly enjoyed this show. Thank you very much, everyone who's been tuning in and getting in touch with us. It's been an eclectic mix. Yeah, all right, it's been a bit chaotic, but that's me in a nutshell, isn't it? I think it might be time to see if anyone's got a taxi for Christys.
Taxi for Christys.
Right, well, that's my cue to leave the building and head off home. And this has been the week that two friendly alpacas gave residents at a care home in Wales a surprise visit. But this one was immediately ejected for not being triple jabbed. There you go, fantastic. Yeah, and he wouldn't wear a mask either. Honestly, who do you think he is? And oh my gosh, here we go. We've got some breaking news to finish the show. We've got some breaking news to finish the show. Wow, France has just surrendered to Putin, apparently. No, OK, we are joking, of course, but, you know, give it time. Anyway, I've been Patrick Christys. This has been Friday Night Feast. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Hello, many areas enjoyed a dry and bright day on Friday, and that dry weather looks set to continue for many areas through this weekend. Probably the best of the sunshine across England and Wales towards the south and east, more cloud elsewhere, and some strong winds in the far northwest as well. If we look at the pressure pattern then, we can see the reason why. This area of high pressure brought all the dry weather through Friday, and that will hang around for much of this coming weekend, slowly pushing its way eastwards. But weather fronts will topple around that high, bringing stronger winds and some rain across parts of the north and the west. And that's the case through Friday evening and overnight. Quite cloudy across Scotland, Northern Ireland, some patchy light rain or drizzle, turning breezy here as well, but elsewhere across England and Wales it will be dry, clear, and under those clear skies it will turn quite cold as well. Temperatures even in towns and cities falling quite close to freezing, colder in rural spots, but temperatures holding up underneath all that cloud further northwest. So as we start Saturday morning then, it's a bright but quite chilly start across much of England and Wales. Lots of sunshine first thing, and those temperatures will respond to that sunshine as we head through the day, so staying fine here, but more cloud as we head across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England. Still the odd spot of rain or drizzle, but I think most places will be dry, but it will be rather windy across the north and the west. Again, particularly the Western Isles where we can see some gales. Here we're looking at highs of 9 or 10, but mild further towards the south in that sunshine. As we head through the rest of Saturday evening and overnight then, I think most places will be dry. Those clear skies extending further north, so turning quite clear across northern England into eastern Scotland as well. Most of the rain tending to peter out across Scotland and Northern Ireland. The winds slowly easing as we head through the night as well. And again, quite a chilly night to come across England and Wales. Probably too much for a breeze to stop it turning too cold, but again that bit milder further towards the north and the west. Quick look ahead to Sunday then. I think for the bulk of the country it's looking like a fine day. Lots of sunshine across England, Wales, brighter day for northern England and into eastern Scotland as well. Always more cloud though once again across western Scotland, Northern Ireland. Patchy light rain or drizzle that's starting to creep into western Cornwall later in the day. Quick look ahead to the early part of next week. Monday's looking quite changeable with some rain, but gradually turning drier and brighter as we head through the week. I'll see you soon.
GB News is the UK's home of discussion and debate
from all perspectives.
To stay up to date on the latest stories,
make sure that you subscribe to the GB News channel
right here on YouTube.
You can watch us live 24/7 across the whole world.
You can also check out exclusive content and catch up on previous episodes of your favourite shows.
Every day, we ask the questions
that you'd ask, so why not add your voice to the conversation in the comments section?
Don't forget to subscribe. We are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every night at 11 on GB News, we bring you the next day's stories the day before.
It's basically like time travel.
If it's a big story, we'll cover it, guaranteed. But we'll also have some fun along the way.
Big opinions, big laughs. Sometimes big hair.
This is
Headliners, the paper review show that won't send you to sleep like the others will.
11 p.m, 7 nights a week. Join us.
Hello there, I'm Eamon Holmes.
And I'm Isabel Webster.
And we hope you can join us for
Breakfast with Eamon
and Isabel.
You make me laugh out loud, belly laugh.
Is that important first thing in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me trying to be deadly serious. News is a serious business.
Yeah, I have to rein you in sometimes.
Well, it doesn't stop us laughing at it. It doesn't stop us having an opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
And it certainly will not stop us reflecting what you think.
Weekdays from 6 to 9:30 on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Friday night. You are watching Tonight Live, and I'm just mid-conversation with the defence editor of the Evening Standard. Here's my star panellists this evening. We've got all your questions answered about Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. So much to get through. It's going to be a busy 3 hours. First, here are the headlines.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Olivia Guthrie in the GB newsroom. The Prime Minister has told NATO that a catastrophe is engulfing Ukraine, warning that President Putin's ambitions might not stop there. It follows claims by Russia's defence ministry that it's captured a strategic airfield outside Kiev, cutting the capital off from the west. There are also reports of artillery rounds heard in the capital and loud blasts in the eastern city of Kharkiv. Britain's Defence Intelligence Chief says Russian forces are advancing on two fronts towards Kiev. Putin is calling on Ukrainian servicemen to overthrow their government.
I once again appeal to the military personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine. Do not allow neo-Nazis and Ukrainian radical nationalists to use your children, wives and elders as human shields. Take power into your own hands. It will be easier for us to reach agreement.
Well, Ukraine's defence ministry claims that 2,800 Russian soldiers have died during the conflict so far. In a show of unity, President Vladimir Zelensky released footage of himself and other officials in the district of Lipki in Kiev. They stressed they'll defend the capital.
We are all here. Our soldiers are here. The citizens are here. And we are here. We defend our independence. That's how it will go. Glory to our defenders, both male and female.
Well, Ukraine's youngest ever member of parliament, Sviatoslav Yurash, is in Kiev too. He says they need help.
We are facing heavy fights everywhere. Very hard to discern information coming forward with what is true, what is not. But the battles in Kiev continue. Again, shells behind me falling. And again, this is modern Europe. This is the biggest war in Europe since the Second World War. And the world needs to wake up and support us in this fight in every way it can. Because if it is allowed here, destruction of the single biggest European state, this will spread.
More than 1,000 people have rallied outside Downing Street in London, chanting Putin is a killer and Putin is a terrorist. It's just one of several protests around the world, including in Moscow and St. Petersburg, where 1,000 people have been arrested. The Ukrainian flag is flying alongside the Union Jack above 10 Downing Street tonight. People wearing the yellow and blue flag of Ukraine sang the country's national anthem. Another demonstration is planned for tomorrow. A driver is lucky to be alive after a tank drove over his car in Ukraine. Footage shows the tank apparently veering towards the smaller vehicle before crushing it with its occupant inside. It happened in Obolon, just an area just north of Kiev. A group of locals later helped to get the driver out of his destroyed car. TV, online and DAB+ radio, this is